Hi, welcome to Dishing with Joe. Today we will be making a pork loin roast with some rosemary, salt, pepper, and some Dijon mustard. This is something that I learned from a French friend. I don't think there's actually a real name to it, but there is a little surprise that we're going to be doing at the end of the cooking of the roast. So it's a really great dish, something for the family, something for yourself, but that's what we're going to be doing. So I hope you enjoy. Let's get started. What I have here is a fresh sprig of rosemary, and we want to make sure that we take the rosemary off the sprig here. Okay, so we're going to be mincing this rosemary. It smells really great. I don't know if you guys like fresh rosemary, but I sure do. And the smell is awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and start mincing. And what you want is you want enough rosemary because you're going to be covering this whole pork loin all the way around. So make sure that we have that. Okay. And just go over it a couple times here and mince it a little bit more after you chopped it. And there we go. There you have minced rosemary. Now we have the pork roast. It is a pork loin. It's 2.5 pounds. And I already got a baking dish started. I put the foil on here. So this is where we're going to be putting the pork loin. Let's go ahead and transfer it over. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure that this is seasoned correctly and plenty, because we want to make a crust. So we're going to be putting some salt on it, and you can pat that in, and then we're going to use some pepper. So we'll be spreading this pepper around in just a moment. Now I put my salt and pepper on the side. I'm sure that if you've been watching my channel, you see me getting salt and pepper from another container, but because we are dealing with raw meat and we are patting it down, we want to make sure that we're not double dipping your hand into your regular container that you actually keep your salt and pepper in normally. So I am dealing with raw meat, and that's what we want to do, is we want to keep those things separate, because that's the way it is. That way you don't get sick. Okay, let's add a little bit more salt on here. Let's go ahead and flip this over. As you can see, this pork loin does have some fat on it. We want to go ahead and keep that. It's going to make the pork juicy as a roast. That is what we're doing. We're going to keep that fat on there. Okay. A little bit more pepper. There we go. Let's go ahead and pat that in. Now I do like a lot of pepper on my food, but because this is going to be a roast, it's going to be especially better, actually. It's going to make a nice crust for this. And what I mean by crust is it's going to be nice and brown at the end of our cooking. Alright, let's go ahead and add some pepper on the side here. There we go. A little bit more salt on the side. Don't be afraid of using plenty of salt, because it will cook down. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I will mention it again, or I'll mention it now. I use sea salt. sea salt because if you use the other kind of salt, the iodized kind, that's made from rock, and it comes from rock, so rock salt. That's more mineral-like in the salt, and I feel that sea salt is a little bit less mineral-like, and you can use a little bit more salt than usual. It won't be as salty. Okay, so now we're gonna add the Dijon mustard. I quickly washed my hands because I was touching the pork loin. So now we're gonna drizzle the Dijon mustard onto the pork here. And you can write your name on it if you like. I'm just gonna put it on here. And we're gonna go ahead and spread that around. Okay. There we go, on the sides. And we're going to flip this over in just a moment, but we want to make sure that the mustard is all the way, all over the roast here. And on the sides. And on the sides. So we're going to flip this over. I'm going to put some more mustard. There we go. You don't need that much more on here because we're just going to spread this around. The bottom side has plenty, and it's going to give it flavor, and it's going to give it a crust. Alright, there we go. Now, we're going to add the rosemary, and we're going to sprinkle this on, like so. Now, if you've never had rosemary with your pork, let me tell you, it is delicious. I really like my rosemary with pork and with other vegetables too. So, okay, let's go ahead and turn this over again and add that side here with the rosemary. And this rosemary smells so good when you have fresh chopped rosemary. I know I said that at the beginning, but I want to say it again. You can't beat fresh rosemary. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to turn this over. We're going to flip it around because we want the fat side part up. Because the fat side part is going to cook and it's going to go through your pork and it's going to make it juicy. So yes, it is a little messy, as you can see, but always have one wet side hand and a dry hand side so you can hold on to your baking dish. Okay? All right, let me wash my hands and we're going to stick it in the oven. Be right back. Okay, so now that I washed my hands, we're going to actually cover this up with foil because we want to bake it a little bit faster. That's what I find out is that you're going to steam it a little bit, and then we're going to finish it off at the end, let it roast up and get brown at the end. But if you don't cover it, your mustard and all the ingredients are going to burn before the meat is cooked. So you want to make sure that you cover it. And we're just going to cover it with foil. There we go. Nice and tight. I did already preheat the oven. It's at 375, and we're going to go ahead and cook this roast in there. Okay, let's go ahead and put it in. Okay, so we're going to put this roast on the top there, and we're going to let it cook. Let's go ahead and seal that. As you can see, 375, and we're going to let it cook for about half an hour. Okay, so 30 minutes, and then we'll check it and see if it's good to go, and then we'll go ahead and start the browning of it. Okay, stay tuned. At 30 minutes, I went ahead and checked it. It wasn't quite ready, so I just pulled the roast out. I gave it another 15 minutes, and we're going to go ahead and take the foil off. And remember to pull the foil away from you. Okay, don't stand in front of the steam. All right, so this is exactly what we want. right. And then we're gonna put this back in the oven and we're gonna brown it. And that should be another 20 minutes, okay? Okay, so I've taken the roast out of the oven and we're going to slice it. Now you say, Joe, why are we gonna slice it? Well, this is part of the surprise of this dish. So we're gonna go ahead and make slices just like that. About 1 inch thick slices. Let's go ahead and do that all the way down the line here. Don't cut all the way through. All right. This smells so good with the rosemary and the Dijon mustard. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and center that. And the next thing we have is cheese. Yes, that's the surprise. So we have Monterey Jack cheese here, and we're going to put it in between the slices. So try to put that in there. There we go. And this is, again, a dish that I learned from a French friend back in the 90s. It was one of those dishes that everybody just could not wait to have. And it's really good, actually. It does make a difference in your roast, and it's makes it different. So, okay, so as you can see, I have a cheese that just doesn't want to cooperate, and I think it's just a slice. I didn't slice a little bit further in. So let's go ahead and now put that in there. There we go. All right, there we go. That's the last of the cheese that's in there. Great, that looks awesome. Now we're going to put this back in the oven and we're going to put it on broil because I want to make sure that this gets melted and I want to make sure that the top gets a little sear on it. Okay, I've taken this out of the oven already. This is the pork roast. This is what it's supposed to look like. I put it under broil for about 5 minutes just to make the cheese nice and brown, and then of course the crust brown. This is ready to go ahead and let it sit. We're gonna take it out of the pan and we're gonna let it sit here. Let's see here. There we go. There we go. And let's put that aside. We're gonna slice it up in just a moment. Let it sit up for about 5 minutes, okay? Okay, so there you go. That piece of pork was nice and tender. That Monterey Jack gives it a little zing to it. That is such a great and simple dish. Again, you're just roasting it and adding some cheese on it. It's just something different to make for dinner, and I hope you enjoyed the instructions and how to make a really good pork loin dish. This would also go great with a little dollop of Dijon mustard for you to dip in. It's such a good add-on. Also, this pork would be really good for leftovers. So if you have some baguette, just go ahead and toast your baguette. Slice the pork thinly and then put it on your baguette, and you have a great sandwich for lunch the next day. Thank you for watching Dishing with Joe. Please like, subscribe, and give me a comment down below. Again, I hope you enjoy this dish.